All right, just bringing this open. We have an awesome little setup for tomorrow. And we've got top leaders here to get ready for what's going to happen after this incredible week. I'm just excited to put this out there and share it in some various areas. But you know, we launched with the Velavita 5 years ago, and where it is today is just absolutely amazing. And to think that we're doing a satellite meeting here while thousands of people are in Malaysia at the same time is freaking phenomenal. And we, you know, we can share on that, but man, things are so set. Anyway, fun. Stay tuned. There's not a problem that Dell has only, because there isn't, right? We're all dealing with the same technology, the same equipment, the same direction, the same understandings. You know, Google works a way that we all got to deal with. Everything is tied to that, right? So, but it's having that place for them to plug in. And that's the most important part. And then leaders to run it. And then we want to like raise leadership up. And if we get too big to where their leaders are taking over and doing stuff great, then you start breaking off. But not until then. And I did it prematurely, thinking I did it right. Like I didn't do it thinking, oh, this is wrong. I thought this is what, because I thought, well, that's what I want to do, right? I've always been take charge. I'm going to do it. I'm going to own it. I'm going to be their person. And we don't have a lot of those just because it's a, you know, human nature that not everybody's wired that way. So we're better off to do massive groups. This is why the Tuesdays always been the salvation. Tuesdays and Saturdays, you know, and that way I don't care who you are, you got access to growth. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, right? We covered the one thing on Monday, but those are always steady stuff and growth. And that's why, I mean, I wish I would have never stopped doing the trainings on Saturdays, because we had a big drop. And it's because, you know, if they can make it then in those recordings, so we just put that steady stuff out there, right? But going back to what we need to focus on the leadership side is steady growth and plug them in and just realize, again, the broken record, marry the process, not the individual. Right? We know that we plug everybody in. This is a success path. They have to show up. I can't force them to show up, but I can guide them there and have them go through the stuff and get through the steps. But you know, I think along the way, like what you said about the acorn and the tree.
Yeah.
That's a principle that you're right. Most people don't understand.
Yeah, they do not understand how much is underneath.
Right.
And it's double, triple what's up.
Yeah, it's what the actual tree has to go through to grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, that acorn has sent those roots down as far up as the tree is.
Right.
But it did it through ground and rock and steel and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So all the fight was the foundation
see
building,
it.
and the tree was the result of all of what happened, you know, to build the foundation.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. That's our life here, because we don't see how much evil's out there fighting us.
Right.
You know, and we're fighting and fighting and fighting, and we got people fighting for us, and God, in His glory, gave us protection and help, and we just don't see it. But the fight's real, and it's there.
They see it, but they see the results.
Yeah.
They see the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't understand what happened all underneath the
Yeah.
ground. That all those roots had to dig and fight and scream and holler and to get that down there, to get the tree up to be a beautiful apple tree with apples on there.
Yeah.
Seeds inside the apple that do the same thing over again.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic that most people miss
Yeah.
and don't understand. And one thing that I know about what we do here is people don't understand fundamental principles of success.
Yes.
They don't understand it. And the first thing they want to ask you is how much you make.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what I make. It's a matter of what you want to make or what your goal would be and what you would be able to do for it.
Right. Exactly.
And be persistent and consistent and you know, in doing it every day, because that's what you study. Tiger Woods, you study, you know, what's his name, basketball, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And their work ethic outside of the game was a lot more than what the game was. The game is just the end result.
Right.
You know, but most people don't see what they were doing prior to the game.
All the hard work.
They pay the money to go
fails,
see the game.
Right, right.
And then they think, oh man, this guy's amazing, you know, and he can do this and he can do this. He's flying, you know,
Yeah.
like he got wings or something, you know.
Yeah.
But what they missed is how many times Tiger Woods has hit that ball behind that tree, you know, to see if he can get close to that hole.
Yeah.
And it's wired in his brain. So when it happens, he actually knows how to hit the ball to make it go around, to get the curvature to where it gets close to the hole.
Right.
But people don't see all of that.
Yeah.
No, they just see the performance.
They see the performance,
Yeah.
the end result
Yeah.
of what the work did. And it's no different. To me, it's no different here, and it's just my opinion about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That is truth.
Mm-hmm.
That is truth. That's what it is.
The thing about the PBS, right, is it's the foundation for everything. Right? It's their learning thing. We know exactly where they're at when we look at it.
I think they'll write that down.
He's going to take notes too. All right, yeah. We're about to go for this for you too. So. Yeah.
It's better to just when we do this individually because we can break it down more. But also, I mean, we all have the same steps to succeed here. There's not a different path for one person. There just isn't. It's a system. It's a structure. All right. So 5 PBS students a week. Anybody that wants to be a leader, and anybody that wants us to work when they're doing the marketing, they need to do whatever it takes to get 5 PBSs a week. Okay, and let's talk about how we get that done. All right, so 5 PBSs a week. And when I mean PBSs, students into a PBS system. So we're launching 5 new people's business with a PBS every week. And I said we. So you as a leader are going to get 5. Now, if you're working with a team together collectively to get 5 a week, that's your initial goal. So what do you do next? Well, you get 5. Once you have 5, you should have people that are helping you duplicate. And this might take a while. Like you might have to do 5 a week.
Just yourself.
Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, week 10. I have times when I don't have any duplication coming in from the new people I worked with for months. They got to get step 1 done. I get some people that get step 1 done in a matter of days, and I'm always like, okay, I got to check this out. I almost don't believe that they got it done. And I'll say, well, so, and I always bring up like, okay, so on the FSN pages, was that a little bit confusing? Now, I did those over, I got to load them, but if they say, FSN, oh, okay, what did you work on? And they were on the side thing. Okay, so let's go start over again. But sometimes they've knocked it all out, and they just get it, right? And then obviously I send in the V marketing and session 3 training. I schedule when I want to do that with them, right? And that's the whole path is, you know, get them into the V marketing. But like we talked about before, Del, and I'm just going to repeat it again. When we get them in the PBS and we get them doing step 1 is they're putting emotional skin in the game, right? They already got some financial, very little, but there's financial. Now they're putting emotional in. And I reference like the garden, like someone doesn't take care of their garden unless they start the garden, right? People will talk about, oh, I want to put a garden in my backyard. I remember hearing about this, like, I remember this, you know, it always, from my memories, it was always like a church. And I really like, oh, spring's coming, where are you going to plant your garden? Well, a lot of people said they were going to plant a garden, but very few actually did it. But the ones that did plant their garden, you'd see them out there gardening and taking care of the yard. They were committed because they started the planning process. That's why we can't throw them into the making money stuff until they get that foundation built, which is the PBS. And also, the PBS is a bigger core of how everything works. And I think that's an emphasis to cover too. So, and so if you get 5 PBS students started every week, that's 5 that should be working on step 1. Well, they're going to finish step 1 when they finish step 1, right? It's, and I always like put this in the thing, like we have the ability to make unlimited income in this business. Like we have awesome opportunity. There's a learning curve to how this all works. And no one's going to learn better than by doing the actual work. There's not a better way. So what we're doing is getting them up and going, and they're going to learn by doing. And every one of those videos they're watching, I get to introduce a new way to do it, right? And I get to teach them. So by the time they get done with step 1, they have the belief and understanding of the system. And it kind of weeds them out. It's just like, and what I mean by weeds them out is it kind of like, who's ready to go because they got done. and then hold accountability. One thing that we got to do better is the accountability on that. So I find that I do better with them when I set a weekly follow-up. I call it catching up, but a weekly follow-up. So like they're in step one, I say, okay, so say it's a Friday. I go, because usually that's the appointment we had, right? It's session 2, right? I've got them going into step 1. I say, okay, you're gonna be working on this. Let's follow up. Does next Friday work the same time? Usually what I say. And usually my calendar, I check my calendar first, but usually my calendar is available a week out. It's booked 3 days out already, but usually a week I have that opening. I double check it, and I don't need to get on the phone with them long, and I set it for 30 minutes. On my calendar, 30 minutes. And in that 30 minutes, I'm gonna get on the phone with them and say, okay, where are you in step 1? And if they're not done, and they haven't done anything in a week, and this happens, but I said, no problem. Can we get going on? And they always say, this happens, and I realize that, people want to change. They come into our program, but to make a change happen, not only do they have to plant the seeds, they gotta, but they gotta make time for this, right? And even though we all have 24 hours in a day, we all fill that 24 hours with something else. So again, planning, this is just like, I'm going to use your acorn thing because that's exactly what it is, right? And we got to get them they get the PBS. So, the acorn, they commit. They spend $98 and activate the PBS. Okay? That's like buying the seeds. Just because you bought the seeds doesn't mean you're going to have pumpkins in when the season's done. You bought the seeds, right? And I can tell you, I know what seed packets look like because I've seen seed packets bought by my parents that just sat there for years, right? They went and bought the seeds. They didn't plant the seeds. Why didn't they plant the seeds? Because they didn't go till the garden. They didn't get the soil ready to plant the seeds, right? We do this in life as people because we will get so excited about something and we go do something, and just the act of purchasing that in that direction makes us feel good, right? I bring this up about home gym equipment. It's the same people will buy it over and over and over again, right? And I bring up the Peloton bikes. The Peloton bikes is the most expensive clothing there is on the planet. And everybody, saw this, and they saw their hopes and dreams of physical prowess by getting that bike, and so they buy it. Oh my gosh, I'm in it, And I had a lot of friends buy them, and how I know? Because they all told me they bought it, and they're like committing me they're going to use it, and I'm laughing because I understand this so well, right? And I bought plenty of gym equipment, understand it, right? And I worked with Tony Little, and he sold the Gazelle, right? And their marketing team understood, like, we can sell the Gazelle version 2.0, 3, we can do all this because people will buy the same thing and they don't want to return it because that's like filling. Like when people buy the seeds, I never see them take them back to the store to sell the seeds back because they're admitting defeat. Oh, I'll plant them next year. Those seeds are good. I'll plant them next year. And what we got to do is be better at leading. So they bought the seeds or they bought the PBS. They've attended session 1. They've attended session 2. We've got them all hooked up with everything. And now they got to get step 1 done. Well, everybody here knows that's 60 hours of work. Faster for some, longer for others. It's not, right? I mean, it's basically like, here's a semester of school, let's pack it in, right? I mean, add it up, 60 hours, right? When we send our kids to school, we send our kids to school, they get a couple hours of training. I mean, how much real education they get per day, right? A couple hours, right? Something like that. Less than 2? Well, let's say it's 2 hours. 60 divided by 2 is 30 days, right?
30, that's like a quarter of education, right? That's like a quarter. It's not a semester, but it's like a quarter. They're going to go through like, and I think it's good to explain to them, like, hey, this is like basically, this is, I always say it's your learning curve. Every step along the way, you're going to get better at this. And 60 hours in, right? And that sounds like a good work week, but that could take you, a couple weeks to get done. Don't worry about it. We're going to check in every Friday till you're done. And I set that up for follow-up, same time if I can. But I don't set it on the calendar till the next week till we talk, right? I don't just preset it up there. And then if they miss one, right? I'm texting, when can we reschedule? You got to be on them. And I've found that they usually are like a day before, they on the calendar, they know that I'm putting interest in them. They are the best ones to let me know, hey, Rory, I didn't get a lot done this week. This happened. Can we schedule this out? And I say, do you want another week? And I bun it. But the check-in is what I want, right? And then they're always, and then the thing about it is we can let them off the hook all the time. We understand. You had other life going on before you took this commitment, right? You bought the Peloton, but you didn't plan out all the time you're going to use it to make this work. Osmosis doesn't work, and just having it there in your room didn't make you change your life around it, right? But if you had an accountability partner there waking you up at 6 a.m, so you're getting on the Peloton right now, I'm not leaving, things would change, right? So that's what we're doing. And we know that if we invest with them to get them through step 1, now when we give them the Be Marketing to study, their belief to help somebody else is bigger because they realize this thing is real. It's got a foundational structure to it. And now they have something to weed because they got an emotional time and skin invested in it, right? You invested time in it. And it's, and I remember this from the education process. People are a lot less likely to quit when they got more involved, right? It's easier to quit day 1. But you're almost close enough, like someone just helping edge them along the way to get finished. And a lot of people we work with have a quitting mentality. That's the world. There's more quitters than winners. Why do I say that? We celebrate winners because there's few of them to celebrate. And we're trying to create winners, so we got to get how do you get someone to win? And that's why I set that up there. And it's something that we really missed out on that we got to do. Accountability every week. And then it gets through step 1. It doesn't stop there. Now, okay, I want you to work on step 2. And step 2 compared to step 1 is like, oh, this is a breeze. I already got this down. Oh, there's only like 6 to do. Oh, that's nothing, right? And then step 3 is the categories. But now we're going to get them in the Be Marketing training. And now it's going to make sense for them to represent this, use the system, the tools that they just got studied with. Because in that 60 hours of work in step 1, they're learning about why that PBS vortex, something that's so foreign. I mean, CRM use, SMS messaging, and all the sequencing that we do, that's foreign to almost everybody that gets in here. So they got to learn why it ties in, all that stuff in along the way, so that it makes sense. And now they're like, okay, I see where I go in here. This is what we have to do. So five in your team a week. That's pretty heavy for one person. But it's not heavy for 2 and 3. So as you're doing 5 a week, you're finding those other ones to help bring them in. But if you're not doing 5 a week, you still got to drive like mad to make it balance out. And then once you have 5 a week, and you got other team members, now you try to push for 10 a week. I'm not expecting a leader to be just like you at that point. I mean, there's development. But if you got 2 or 3 that can add 1 a week, well, now you only have to do 2. But if you're only doing 2 and you got other leaders growing, you want to be pushing towards 10, which means you're pushing the one that's doing 1 a week to 2 a week. Because you want them really doing 5 a week to be a leader. Because if they're doing 5 a week, they're going to get enough to spark to build both the left side and the right side in Bella Vita. They're going to have enough leverage to that PBS Vortex is going to be creating income. They're going to be making money in FSN. And now if I've got people that are doing the Be Marketing duplicating, because of the lead process, we're adding literally hundreds, if not thousands, into the free process there every week. The numbers are in our favor now, all by doing 5 a week. Anything less than 5 a week, it's really going to be hard to create that momentum. 1 in 10 is going to be your superstar. That's actually going to do what we need to get done. We don't know who they are, actually. I haven't figured out a way to tell by how they answer a question if they're that 1 in 10. I just don't know until they show up. And they're not going to show up till they finish step 1 and into step 2, and sometimes months after that. So you don't know who it's going to be. So you got to just keep filling the hopper up and allow everything to grow. Keep building that foundation and helping everybody else build their foundations, right?
Bite-sized little pieces. Okay, get to your 5. It's okay if you only have 1 this week. Keep pushing. You're gonna get better. You're gonna get better. You're gonna find those people, and it really is about momentum. It's about just a small little trickle of starting. You just start, and you just keep showing up. You know, you just that, like you use the acorn analogy. I like to use the river analogy, because you watch that little water trickle, and then pretty soon you have this beautiful canyon, right? But it started with just a little trickle. And that's what it is. It's momentum. It's just taking that consistency and going forward. And you have the little steps that are already broken down for you. So it's like, really, it isn't this big, huge thing. It's this little thing. But the thing that's so little that people don't understand, and because it's so little, I think they just discount it. But it's the consistency. It's the showing up again. Okay, today I didn't get my 1 yesterday. Today I'm going to get 1 and show up and keep going. And yeah, you know, it doesn't matter. Our economy sucks right now. That's absolutely true. It does. Okay, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to me. That means more people need us.
So, as long as people are eating, we have a business.
Yeah.
When people stop eating, and we're all dead.
Yeah.
Because and also, I'll bring that up there on a political side. Politics, those who study politics, unless that's your business, it derails things. I've watched people lose their minds because, I watched it in 08. We watched friends just destroy their entire business because what was going around them.
Yeah.
And then we watched people buckle down and just survive. And I think about Carrie all the time. Like, she launched a business during that time, and now she is huge.
It's our friend.
She's put her head down and went to work. And you know, people like, no one can afford that. People are building new homes still. There's new builds going up.
This is a week, and you want to constantly be thinking who that's going to be, right? Because, and I want to say this because you got to have purpose and intensity behind that purpose with everybody you work with, right? You got to be very specific, meaning Charlie's showing up every week. He's getting stuff done. Charlie's gonna be one of my guys to do this, and I'm just gonna make sure I'm doing everything right. And every time I it's a manifesto thinking. Charlie's my guy, and with purpose, and I can tell him, right? So Charlie, okay, we're getting good. You're on part 4 of 6 or whatever in step 1. 2 more parts. We're gonna get into V marketing. I always tell him what's coming next. I'm gonna get into V marketing. You do all this, but just so you know, right now I'm growing our business, right? Because as I'm getting 5 PBSs, I'm doing V marketing. Remember, everything is circular that we do. If anything feels like you're doing, if it's not flowing in a circular manner, you're not doing it right. And this is probably one of the hardest things to convey, because it's how my mind thinks, but it's not the way we're taught to do things. We're taught to do things like step by step always makes sense, but we're taught to focus on one thing and get it done. Well, we're focusing on one thing, and it's the success of the entire business. That's what we're focusing on. All these little steps are part of the things that have to make that happen. So when we focus on the system, everything falls into place. If we focus on just one aspect of the system, it's not going to fall into place. So if I'm just going to build PBS pages, that's putting content together. But if I'm not marketing it, if I'm not driving traffic to it, I'm not following the system, right? When I'm doing the V marketing work, and I always separate it. So we got a PBS part of our business that we can do, right? And we have the building the team part of the business we can do. The PBS part of the business, I can build pages, I can market pages any time of day. Doesn't matter. Internet's always open. Right? And I'm going to do that when it's best for my mind. I'm clear. And I like to do it when it's not involving what my bigger priority is, which is growing my team. right? So when the prime time of the day, I want to focus on the PBS activities. Well, if I'm doing V marketing and I'm sending text messages and getting hold of people and doing my appointments, I'm also driving traffic to my PBS. And I'm probably driving better traffic because of what it is, sending clicks from SMS to my pages than anything else that we collaboratively do individually. But we want to do all of it. The one thing I wanted to point out on the PBS build is we're getting PBS students from circular activities, or we should be, right? And this is why V marketing should be our number one anchor that I'm gonna call it, I shouldn't call it an anchor, it's our number one marketing leg of the table. Because there's several, right? That's a strong leg. In fact, we have the calling out, we have the texting, so it's good 2 legs, and we have the emailing, we have emailing and then the link that we send out, right? So we got 3 legs just in that marketing table by itself, if you would. There's 3 different legs. But in addition to that, I'm gonna be marketing my options page and social media, right? These are all geared to find people to bring in the team. We have the PBS pages, and I've always been trying to create a new way to convey that message, right? So I'm gonna constantly put that out there. So I'm not just relying on what Triple R gives me. I'm relying on what I can do with my own PBS and put out there. I'm also gonna rely on every ad I can post, every nook and cranny, because I just know that if I make myself available, the right person is gonna come find me. God's gonna tie us together. I know that's how it works, right? Something's gonna drive me there. Nothing just happens by accident, but I gotta put the work out there, right? My story or whatever it is gonna bring the right type of person in. We know it works. So all these things are happening. And so I know that if I do this structure for 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, whatever it is, I'm gonna grow my PBSs, my PBS students, and I'm gonna focus on getting 5 a week by myself or with my team. And as the team grows, I'm gonna go from 5 to the next increment of 5. 5 a week to 10 a week to 15 a week to 20 a week. And that's how I know my team is duplicating. If I'm constantly doing 5 a week, I don't have duplication yet. As soon as I have somebody help me get those 5, maybe we start getting 6, 7. I want to get to the next group of just move in groups of 5. And as soon as you have somebody rise up basically to a GSI level, this is why we built it this way. When somebody at GSI, they should be, okay, you got to go get 5 a week. You and your team get 5 a week. And that doesn't count my numbers anymore. Now, I might count my team numbers as, like, you know, if I'm building as an MSI, I'm going to be going, okay, I need 20 a week for my team, 25 a week for my team. I'm going to work on 5. Dell's going to work on 5. Chris and Jenny are work on 5. And Don's going to work on 5. There's 20, and I got to do 5. So that's 25 if we all do 5 a week. I'm going to start thinking in groups of 5. Own 5. That's 1 a day between me and my team. And if I'm helping somebody do that, that's why it does that. Sometimes I'm doing BRTs for other people. And I say sometimes I do BRTs for other people 80% of my week. I'm okay with that. I'm okay if it's 100% of the week as long as it's keeping me busy and tied up on there. That means I have a lot of people setting appointments for me. It means I'm doing a lot of that. But also, I'm hoping to find people that can self-grow. But if I'm not keeping that pace going, momentum, it'll fizzle out. We have to drive it. We have to be the fuel. Right? The leads are the fuel. We gotta be the car that runs on that fuel to get where we're trying to go. And then we want lots of cars going. Right? I mean, I like studying automotive history. And you know, when the automobile came out, it wasn't like everybody adopted the automobile. It had a lot of friction, right? And Henry Ford, he has some amazing quotes. He said, like, if it was up to the people, they would just want me to build faster horses, right? He basically said that, and it's true. It's still true today. People are just that way. So he built this automobile, and you know, the way that life was constructed at the time, you know, people weren't going long distances to travel to work or anything, so they didn't really need distance stuff. So then they had to, you know, build infrastructure and roads and all these things for people to get there, you know, and you know, Michelin wants people to run out their tires, buy new ones, so they could try to build destinations to drive people to drive, right? And all these things that, you know, created what we have today. I mean, I don't know if anybody can even think about living without a car. Like, You know, I mean, unless you're like in a big city and around, but I mean, and even then it's like, I got to get out of here. You need a car, right? And I look at where that's at, and like, you know, we're guiding people like on a business. It's like a car. They're used to this employment way, and they all would like to have a better employment situation. They want to go do the same thing that they're cozy with and just get paid lots more money and get paid whether they show up or not. This is like with Henry Ford. They want, if I listen to them, they just want me to make faster horses. Not a whole new way to do it. A new understanding, right? And I'm looking at this going, you know, and you think about it, a faster horse, you can't carry all this stuff with you. It's not as convenient by any far, but it's hard to change somebody's understanding because it's getting a tunnel vision. And you don't, you know, and they're not everybody's visionary. So we're giving them a whole different vision and a direction and where to go, but it's just like that. And we can't give them a better situation what they have today. They got to create a better situation doing something different than what they've been doing. It's not an easy task. It took a while for people to just adopt on, you know, on the vehicles, right? And I'm looking at this, it is a better vehicle. We know that it is, but everything's got to be built, the new understanding on it.
The acorn, yeah, I got the acorn, but I never planted it. So,
We've got the not Peloton, but other things. Yeah, that's all you have to do is buy it, right? It fixes everything? No.
so that's kind of our story where, you know, we met, we finally decided, yeah, you know, I could have done this 7 years ago, but we wouldn't have been the same people.
No.
So, you know, all in God's timing, it all worked out perfect. So.
I just think it's awesome. But I you know, for us, I'm just like, okay, what did I miss something? Like,
Yes.
like I'm thinking of like even like they met at the event, or I don't remember anything like
No.
like sparks or like.
No,
You know?
It wasn't really anything that I thought.
So
I didn't
now-
know. I
now
just
I
thought
have
he
it
was
in
a cute guy.
perspective. You know, I like to know the story because it's like it's just cool. Also, on the like the path going forward, right? So I mean, I'll just say this: so that Texas and Idaho,
Yeah.
right? And what's your guys' like? What's the future plan you guys are working on?
Okay.
And then let's go to like on the business aspect. And I think this is really good. We planned this perfectly because with Joel, right, and Darlene, similar situation. In I think this is a really good segue. So
So the plan was she had a lease that doesn't expire till end of January and needs to stay through the middle of February for some stuff at work to kick in. And so, you know, since this is an online business, I can work from anywhere in the world. There's an internet connection. So I was like, I'll just come out there. You know, the options were wait until February of 2026 to get married, or get married and me move out here. And that made a lot more sense to
I think
me.
you made the
So,
right decision. I think
so-
you made the right decision.
yeah,
Well,
and
100%. Yeah, and it was a really strict lease that I can't get out of unless I spend a ton of money.
yeah, I
So
get
I
it.
was like, hey, this is my situation right now. And so, and I was like, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? Because I just set that up in the beginning because it is his decision what he wants to do. So, you know, I just left it to him, and he goes, well, I guess I'll move out there. I really don't like the cold, but okay. But,
So
yeah, it's
anyway,
worked out so far.
we're gonna stay in Idaho until the middle of February,
Yeah.
and then we'll move back to Texas where I own a house. So, and then we'll just be building the business from there. So, I came out and just have really concentrated on the Evolve lately, but planning on getting back into some balance with the whole circular motion to get it going. So,
And that's something I want to definitely talk about is how does that fit in the circular realm of activity, right? And this comes from a very strict understanding I've always had. All right, just bringing this open. We have an awesome little setup for tomorrow. And we've got top leaders here to get ready for what's going to happen after after this incredible week. I'm just excited to put this out there and share it in some various areas. But we launched with the Velavita 5 years ago, and where it is today is just absolutely amazing. And to think that we're doing a satellite meeting here while thousands of people are in Malaysia at the same time is freaking phenomenal. And we can share on that. But man, things are so set. Anyway, fun. Stay tuned.
Especially if they're having fun with their kids. I'm going to advocate for that all day long. It's easy to do with your little ones because they're sleeping cute, your little grandbabies, and they're coming up to you. That's easy to put your phone down and interact with them. But we forget that our adult children need love too. With boundaries. We talked about that yesterday. With boundaries. Right? Anyway. I know this is a simple saying, but to me it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it again. If you want to change, you have to change. If you want to change, you have to change. And most people fight that. They want to have success. They want it bad. But they don't want to change their life. I can't understand, but they don't. They want to wish that their life was easier, but they don't want to make the steps, do the steps to make it easier, to make it better. And that's what you have to do. So, and then, everyone says, oh, well, I didn't have a degree in this, I don't have a degree in that. And I was told an education makes you earn a living, self-education makes you a fortune. Right? So in education, yeah, you can make a living off that. But if you want a fortune, if you want to have financial security, you have to learn self-education. And one of those is time. You have to learn time. So take your schedule. Hold yourself accountable, legit. And this is a good practice you guys to do every quarter if you need to. Just check what you're doing. I can't tell you how many people call Rory and I and say, I'm not making the money I want to make. It's because you're doing the little management tasks that don't make money. If you want to lead a team, lead it. Make sales. If you gave them your word that you are going to build one side of their business, build it. Because if you're not, you're a liar. So build it. Otherwise, look yourself in the mirror and say you're a liar and change it. So if you want to make money, right here, it's the same thing every time he talks to anybody. How's your marketing going? How many people are you talking to on a regular basis? That's it. That's it. There ain't no secret code, buddy. That's it. He shows up every day and talks to people. Am I wrong? Every day. Because he promised everybody in this room, and those who aren't, that he was going to build one side of your organization. And he does. Regularly puts in PDS sales all the time. You can't tell me you're too busy when this man is always busy. And you know it. Sometimes he's late to a study hall or something because he's dealing with the other side of our business. And that's just how it has to be. But he shows up and he'll go back and he'll help and he'll nurture and he'll encourage. So if y'all want what he has, you need to do what he does. You don't have to have the lead business. Hello, we have that for you. You don't have to have the marketing training. Hello, he has that for you. He's teaching it all to you. So he's giving you free tools every day. Free for you guys to grow your business. We're not charging you for those leads, and believe me, we could. But he refuses to do so. So he wants to give to you. So it hurts me as his partner, and I'm just going to say this because I'm holding you all accountable. When I see the work and the time that he's putting into you, and you guys don't give back. It hurts me. And then he says, babe, we're just teaching them. It's okay. Well, I'm going to be your mom today and say, stop that. Okay, if you're my son, I'd be putting you in timeout, and then I'd be talking to you every day at the end of the day. Did you do your chores? Did you do your chores? Now, if you don't want to change, that's okay. I'm not going to be a monster to you. But you're here, you want change, let's make it change. Let's do it. And if you're here and you just want to work on your PBS and post ads, God bless you, that's great. I'm serious. But if you want to make the money, you have to do the other work. And I know you're in the size. There's one there, a couple here, one over there. Who am I missing? Where's the other one? One, there's two there, two here. Well, there's only 5 here today. That's it. But I know they want you to do the work too. I know they want you to be successful. You guys know we're in the size, right? That's over there. Stacy, Andy, Niall, and Nina. Everybody know them? PSI, stand up for just a second. Who's our PSIs here? We have our Chris, Joel, Rebecca. And by the way, Paulette, stand up, Paulette. She's actually a PSI. She'll be announced in December. Now, here's GSI, stand up. Where's our beautiful GSI? There they are. See? And Melissa over here too. Yeah. Thank you, guys. The reason I'm showing you their faces is because they're not scary. They're really nice people. And they really just want to help you. I mean, most of them will just let you yell at them. I don't know why, because I'd be like, give you about 1 minute and say, you better be sucking that back in, or I'm going to make you suck it back in. But, you know, they're nicer than me. It's okay. It's something I keep praying for. All right, so we're going to go back to any questions on the schedule? Do you guys understand what I said I was going to go back to step 15. So, we're going to go back to step 15. And that was, what, the formula, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the formula. Will you put up the, thank you. I wanted her, she got the visual all set for me, so y'all can see the compass. All right, so that's our compass, right? Hopefully you guys have drew that in that category. Because most people should have at least a 5 in each area. If you don't, it's definitely something you need to work on. Okay? I wish I could put a time management one in there, but okay, so I'm gonna go back to there's 10.
It echoes. Yeah, Good to go? So how many people here have actually built a charity auction page? Raise your hand. I want to see what I'm looking at. Okay, good. For those of you who haven't, I'm going to give you a really good reason to build one of those pages. Okay, but first of all, I just want to really quick introduce myself and why I'm here. So my name is Don Lamro, and I've actually been with Rory and Tanya for about 26 years. So recently in Triple R, this year only, Rory and I reconnected over the last year or so, and I got plugged into this. But my past history has been in ministry and fundraising massively. So helping different organizations. I've been on the board of different nonprofit organizations in Utah and California. And the thing about charities and nonprofits and causes and anything that you need to do to raise money for any purpose whatsoever, the people that start them have a heart for something that they want to do, but then they get into it and they realize they have to raise money for it. And they don't want to raise money for it. they don't want to do that. They want to take care of dogs, or they want to take care of people, or they want to maybe have a soccer team that is successful, and all those kinds of things that they want to do have nothing to do with raising money, but they realize they have to raise money in order to make those things happen. So that's where we come along, and we can help them raise money in a very simple and easy way, and it's through an online charity auction. So this is a really good tool for you, like Rory said, because you want to come into this company and build a huge business and make a ton of money, but there are ways, like the IPO program, that you can actually fund your business. And the charity auction is a really good way to do that, right? So charity auction started, the company is called Rory Charity Auction. In 2020, I was working with a company that did fundraising with golf tournaments and other types of events and things like that. And it was a lot of fun to do that, to work with that. And you and my wife got to work with me a little bit. If you don't know Rhonda, if you haven't met her, she's right there in the back. She's awesome and amazing. And she actually works for a nonprofit organization currently right now. And they're doing a fundraising auction with our auction company. So she understands and she's learning all that as well. But in 2020, something happened. We like to forget about it, but the fact of the matter is it did happen and it changed the way we operate. So you're doing a golf tournament, you're doing a gala event, you're doing a 5K run, and then in 2020, they said you can't do it anymore. This is what happened, right? We can't rent a hotel room to you because it'll be too proximity and we can't do that, right? So all these nonprofits that were raising money for their cause, they got in serious trouble because all the things that they did throughout the year, they've been doing for years to raise money, they couldn't do it anymore. And so they had no solutions, and they were freaking out, right? And so this platform that we have available to us was built for that very purpose, to fill in the gap, to help them raise money online, because they couldn't do it in person, and it worked, and people started raising money. So this one right here, this auction, you can see, if you can see the number, it's $40,000. This was the first auction that we did. It was for a family. They had a young son who was going through some medical issues. They had insurance, but they had travel costs. They had to go to New York and to Texas, all these different places to get medical attention, and they couldn't afford it, the travel and everything. So this was the first auction that was done by the company, raised $40,000 for that family, and it covered all those expenses and helped them move forward. So it was a real big success. So we kept doing these auctions throughout a year or two and raising money for these organizations, and then everybody came back in person and everybody, started doing their other fundraisers. But what they realized was that, as you guys have all realized, that the online world is not going away. And why would you do a fundraiser in Boston and only be able to reach people in Boston that like to golf? It doesn't make sense. You can tell your grandma about it in Texas, or your aunt in California, and they can all participate in that fundraiser. So that's what we have available to us, is an online fundraising auction that we set up the entire platform for you, and you run the auction as a nonprofit, and the money comes in at the end of the auction. You don't have to do anything tech-wise, you don't have to do anything as far as admin. We do all that. All you have to do as a nonprofit is to get your people that support you to register for the auction. They bid on items, they win the items, and then at the end of the auction, we send the nonprofit a check. Easy as that. Okay, so how does that work for you? You guys get to refer auctions to the company. You don't have to do anything else. It's the easiest thing you'll ever do, is just to refer an auction, right? And I know you guys all know different auctions or different nonprofits and people that are looking to raise money for a cause, and we're going to go through that a little bit. But we negotiated with the owners of the company a really good percentage of the auction for you guys as people that's part of Triple R. So the amount that we negotiated for you is 2%. So that sounds like it's not that much, right? It's 2%. Some things you do, how much money an auction can make, that 2% can make a huge difference. Even if you only refer one auction a month to the company, right? So I've got a few flyers out there. So someone want to grab the flyers in front of them, wherever they are. Doesn't matter. Let's just pick one. Okay, go back here. Okay, what's the name of the organization? Top right.
Sierra Pregnancy Plus Health.
Okay, so they did an auction. How much did they raise?
$11,364.
Okay, that's not bad. So someone who's a mathematician. Raise your hand if you're the mathematician. Someone give me 2% of that. $220. Okay, here we go. We found the mathematician. So you refer the auction simply by saying to that nonprofit, because you know this nonprofit, they're in your town, and all you have to do is say, hey, you guys do fundraisers. And they say, well, yeah, that's how we survive is through fundraisers. Would you be open to looking at an online auction? Well, I've never thought about that before. That sounds like a fantastic idea. Great. Let me get you an appointment. You open up your URL with referral code, right? Which, if you're going to step, what step is it? 4? To build this page. Step 5. You go to step 5 and build that page.
Step 5?
And you're
Change 3, not 2. I'm pretty sure it's 5.
Which way is 5?
It's gotta be 5.
Yeah.
What you guys get to see is just some images from our event. You're missing a lot of the content. I'm just giving you some teasers. If you want to actually learn what we cover at the events, you need to go to the events. All right. But I'll just let you know that we empowered people to get their calendars, their schedules better, but also how to really understand how to do the business, how to achieve, how to win here with Triple R 247. And you're going to see some of this stuff throughout as we complete this overview.
I said, I'm gonna go back to step 15. So, we're gonna go back to step 15. And that was, what, the formula, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the formula. Will you put up the, thank you. I wanted her, she got the visual all set for me, so y'all can see the compass. All right, so that's our compass, right? Hopefully you guys have drew that.